Hey everyone, it's Triple Mango Threat, and today I want to talk about my thoughts on Adeline Resplendent Cathar. Let's jump right into it. Adeline only costs 3 mana to cast. It's a human knight that has vigilance, and its power is equal to the number of creatures we control. Whenever we attack, for each opponent create a 1/1 white human creature token that's tapped and attacking that player or a planeswalker they control. So whenever we attack, which is nice that we don't have to have our commander attacking, we can start getting tokens for how many opponents we have. So ideally, this is a 4-player game, we'll have 3 opponents. We'll make 3 1/1s whenever we attack, which is kind of silly because if we attack with a 1/1, we make 3 more. Also kind of a neat thing, I thought of Sun Titan because whenever an ETBs or attacks, we can return target permanent with mana value 3 or less from our grave to our battlefield. And this could be our commander, so if somebody murders our commander, we can cast Sun Titan or attack with Sun Titan and get it back. Another card we wouldn't mind losing is Solemn Simulacrum. When it ETBs, we get a basic land onto the battlefield tapped, and when it dies, we get to draw a card. So this could be the creature we attack with, we get 3 1/1s from this, and if they happen to block Solemn, we get to draw a card off of it. Now, since we're making a huge amount of tokens, I thought about life gain. We could add Ajani's Welcome and Soul Warden. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, we get to gain 1 life, so every time we attack, we gain 3 life. And we can make even more tokens with Evangel of Heliod and Reverent Hoplite. When these ETB, we're going to get that many white soldier creature tokens equal to our devotion to white. So already our commander has 2 devotion, and if we have our other stuff like Ajani's Welcome, Soul Warden, we're going to get a lot of tokens off of these. And since we're making so many 1/1s, we can draw a huge amount of cards with Mentor of the Meek. Whenever another creature with power 2 or less enters our battlefield under our control, we can pay 1 mana, and if we do, we can draw a card. So we can pay 3 mana to draw 3 cards, which is excellent in white. Another great card to draw from is Skull Clamp. We can pay 1 to equip this to a creature, and if that creature dies, we can draw 2 cards. Well, when we attach this to our 1/1s, they're immediately going to die, so for 1 mana, we're drawing 2, which is even better than Mentor of the Meek. Of course, it isn't instant speed that we can equip this, but paying 1 mana for 2 cards is insanely good. Idol of Oblivion. Again, we're making a huge amount of tokens, so we can tap this and draw a card, but we can only activate it if we created a token this turn. That is so easy to do in this deck. We can also pay 8 and tap it to sacrifice it to create a 10/10 Eldrazi creature token. We probably won't use this ability because I just like drawing cards, but if we need to, it's an option. Endless Atlas. We can pay 2 and tap it to draw a card. We can only activate this ability if we control 3 or more lands with the same name. In a mono white deck, we're going to be able to draw every single time off of this, and for 2 mana, we get to draw a card. Bonder's Enclave and War Room. We can pay 3 mana and draw a card if we control a creature with power 4 or greater, or we can pay life equal to the number of colors in our commander's color identity, which would be white. So we can pay 3 mana, pay 1 life, and draw a card. And the last way I want to draw cards is with Tome of Legends. When it enters the battlefield, it's going to enter with a page counter. Whenever your commander enters the battlefield or attacks, put another page counter on Tome of Legends. We can pay 1 and tap it to remove a page counter from Tome of Legends to draw a card. This is a great way to draw cards, especially in white. You don't see a lot of card draw from white. I know Wizards is really working on that, but in this deck we want to attack, and our commander has Vigilance, by the way. And since we're having a huge amount of creatures, this could easily be a 6/4 with Vigilance, and that's going to put more page counters on Tome of Legends. Now, if we need to get rid of some of our opponent's threats, we have some great removal spells like Return to Dust, Disenchant, and Crush Contraband. This could take care of artifacts and enchantments that they have, and what's really nice is that with Crush Contraband and Return to Dust, we can actually exile those cards, so it's going to be a lot harder for our opponents to get them back, or probably not at all. Now, I want to talk about Court Street Denizen. This may not look like a removal spell, but it's more of setting our opponents back or not being able to block our creatures. So whenever another white creature enters the battlefield under our control, we can tap target creature an opponent controls. What's great about our commander is that whenever we attack, we're making those 3 white human creature tokens, assuming we have 3 opponents. This means we can tap down 3 creatures of our opponents. So we could make 3 of those creatures towards one of our opponent, or 1 of each, and this is just a great card, especially because we're making so many white creatures ETB. This is a card I really like to have in the deck. Speaking of removal, moving on to board wipes, we have Hour of Reckoning. This is just a great card for the deck. It does destroy all non-token creatures, but we can also reduce the cost by convoking, which is we can help cast this card by tapping our creatures. And when we have a huge amount of creatures, that doesn't really set us back because we have so much excess. This would kill our commander and our other non-token creatures, but if we need to, this is a great option. Now, how we deal a huge amount of damage is, besides having all those 1/1s, Dragon Throne of Tarkir. We can equip it to a creature, and now that creature has Defender, so it can't attack anymore. And it also gains pay 2 and tap this. Other creatures you control gain Trample and +X/+X until end of turn, where X is this creature's power. And Knight costs 3 to equip. If we equip this to our commander, this is a huge amount of damage we're going to be dealing. If we have 10 creatures, all of our creatures get +10/+10 and trample. Yeah, this is insane, and it's a great way to have an overwhelming stampede in decks that aren't green. Gold Knight Commander. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Well, congratulations, we're dealing a huge amount of damage whenever we attack now. We're making those 3 white human creature tokens, so now they get +3/+3. So now they're 4/4s attacking our opponents. Jazal Goldmane, another great way to buff up our creatures. We can pay 5 and attacking creatures you control get +X/+X, where X is the number of attacking creatures. If we attack with 10 1/1s, they're now 11/11s. Mirror Entity, we can pay X and until end of turn, creatures you control have base power and toughness XX and gain all creature types. So now this is dependent on how much extra mana we have to put into this. Again, this is another great way to deal a huge amount of damage. And one of my favorites is Odric Master Tactician. Whenever Odric and at least 3 other creatures attack, we can choose how creatures block this combat. So we can choose for our opponents to not block at all, and that way we're just making our creatures unblockable, we're dealing a huge amount of damage, and he also has First Strike, which can be helpful. It can keep him alive for a little bit longer than he should be. So those are my thoughts on Adeline Resplendent Cathar. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I think this is a really sweet commander, especially for 3 mana. There's a lot of cards that can go really well in this deck. If you'd like to purchase any of the cards I just mentioned, I'll have that in the description down below, and thank you to the patrons who help support this channel. When you become a $10 patron, you can see your name at the end of these videos, and you get an exclusive Altar Sleeve each month. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe for more Mango content, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.